That way there people can watch it on later on Humble or watch it live. It's live.
So when I'm presenting, I should probably take the microphone out.
Yeah, that'd be probably better for
That way people don't hear.
Yep. Good evening, everyone. If everybody could grab a seat, we're going to get started. We're running a couple minutes behind. We got a pretty good crowd, and we have somebody downstairs just making some more copies in case we need copies of the presentation. It should only be about 3 pages, I think, total. Correct? So I guess as long as cable started, hopefully they have us running. But I just wanted to, my name is Scott Crabtree, the Town Manager here in Saugus, and I wanted to welcome everybody. Really excited about having everybody here. It's been a tough, warm summer so far, and hopefully this will be some positive things that we can celebrate here in Saugus. And just sort of give the background. We have our Board of Selectmen here, Chairman Deborah Panetta, Vice Chairman Jeff Ciccolini, Mike Serino, Corrine Riley, and Anthony Cogliano. We also have, I think, some school committee members and some finance committee members, as well as town meeting members and some residents in different organizations here. So we're really thrilled to have this kind of a turnout. This is an opportunity for us to present what we're going to be moving forward with, and get some feedback and answer any questions anybody has. And just to give sort of the background of this, the Board of Selectmen, myself, this has been the priorities and objectives for the town, trying to improve a lot of things. We have many, many things that we need to do, but we're trying to focus on different things, and parks and playgrounds is one of those. And I think these are the things that help bring the quality of life for our families, whether it's our kids, grandkids, ourselves, to really be able to enjoy the town of Saugus. I think a lot of us that have been here for years or a lifetime realize that we haven't, over the 50, 100 years, we haven't done a ton of improvements that are for quality of life. And we started, I think, back in 2015 or 2016, trying to start doing parks and playgrounds. Obviously, they're expensive. We have to figure out funding. We need to balance that. We needed to get our finances in order and build a good foundation so that we're able to fund and move forward these things. So the Board of Selectmen and myself have supported these, as well as the Finance Committee. As we have some Finance Committee members here as well. The Chairman is here, so thank you for coming. Finance Committee and Town Meeting have appropriated monies based on this initiative and the priority from the Selectmen and myself, and appropriated money to do these playgrounds. So essentially the bigger thing is that we have ones that aren't attached to the schools because we need to figure out a plan with the vacant schools, but we have Golden Hills, we have Stalker Field, we have a playground, we have Anna Parker and Stackpole. Those are sort of the 4 main recreational playgrounds that we're focused on. Obviously, we can't do them all at once, not only for money, but capacity-wise and all that. So this year, this has been in the works for over a year, working with department heads, our landscape architects, Warner Larson. We have David Warner here. But we've been working on those things, and I guess I've had some questions about what's happening with all, and I sort of make a joke about this. If we have one sidewalk that we're fixing over here, instead of focusing on the positive that we're doing a sidewalk, everybody says, well, there's 3 other sidewalks over here, how come we're not doing anything? And then the conversation becomes about the 3 other sidewalks that are going to be done next month or next year. But the big plan here, this is approximately $1.5, $1.6 million project. This is pretty extensive. This is going to be, I think, really fabulous for the community. But we've already started with design and the preliminary things for Stackpole Field as well as Golden Hills. And we'll be looking at, you know, we've done surveys there. The architects have those surveys. And the plan would be to try to look at doing those maybe, we've talked about doing them in combination with each other. To maybe with economies of scale that we could get one contractor possibly to go out for that. So we'll be working on those designs and plans to be able to get out for next winter or like you know, late winter, early spring, so that we could work on doing those other two. Obviously, there's plans at Stackpole, at Stalker now that we're still working out. But that's essentially what the priorities and what the Selectmen, Finance Committee, and Town Meeting has appropriated money for us to do, and this is what we're doing, and this is what we're presenting tonight, and this is information on, you know, Anna Parker and those improvements in the courts. There's been, you know, and sometimes I get these questions about like, oh, you know, this is different, you know, there's prevailing wages, there's bid documents, there's specs that have to be put together. All kinds of different processes and procedures and approvals, and different departments have to look at it. We had, like, with soccer, I've met with the president of soccer. We've met a few times to go over how to work in combination with their area that they have there, so we can help enhance the soccer area as well in combination to this. So those are the I think the background and where we are with this. And so I'm really happy to present this, and I think, as you can see, there's no secret now. I guess we can, you know, the veil has been taken over, but this is bringing in a state-of-the-art street hockey rink that, again, all the kids, if you see everybody that drives by on Winter and Central sees all the kids playing street hockey out there, right on the basketball courts. Well, all those kids were involved in the whole design and input of the whole putting this rink together. We visited different rinks. We pulled up different rinks all across the state. They play in a league, but we don't have a rink here that they can use as their home rink. So they play with different towns that have street hockey rinks. So they all gave input and were part of giving us what they want, what they didn't want, what the best type of surfaces to play on, what type of boards, with the expertise of Warner Larson, that have designed these type of things for other communities. We come up with that. The other aspect of this is pickleball. Maybe there might be people who have never heard of pickleball before. Probably not, right? It's the biggest thing that's taken over the country, really. I've had an opportunity to play a few times. It's definitely any level and anybody can play it, and we had a lot of calls, and at the selectmen's meetings and the public meetings, a town meeting, people got up and talked about like, hey, can we do some pickleballs? Can we build some pickleball courts in Saugus? This, I think, helps answer that. This makes this sort of a multi-generational project so that we can have people of all different ages being able to you know, participate here. There's obviously a picnic area where there's benches. We'll have water bottle filling and different things. But I think that we did consult with people that play pickleball and got some good suggestions about putting fences up in between, like short fences and different surfaces and colors. So I think that this is you know, something that we're really excited about presenting. And so with that said, what I'll do is I'll turn this over to David Warner, and he can sort of present. It's not a ton to it. Just to give the parameters, the project will be starting in the next few weeks. We're hoping. We were supposed to start sooner, but there are different things that go on with scheduling and whatnot, and we're hoping to have this done by the fall. I think we have a date in November, but I think we might be able to have use of it prior to that, and that's, you know, sort of the hopes of it. But that's sort of the projection for scheduling wise. So David, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Scott. So my name is David Warner. Can you hear me? Is it working? Okay, great. And I'm the president of Warner Larson Landscape Architects. Our office is in South Boston, but I'm a North Shore kid. I grew up in in Wenham on the North Shore, and we do a lot of work around the state. And our focus is working for municipalities on active recreation outdoor spaces. So this is right up our alley. This is the type of work that we do all the time. We love working with communities, making their open space better and more usable. And multi-generational is really the direction in which a lot of open space is going these days. So that way, the entire family can come out and spend time and enjoying not just one particular event like pickleball, but parents can be there sitting watching the kids in the picnic area. So I'm going to point to this slide up here. Those of you who do have a handout, you can follow along in front. And the first thing
David, just to interrupt you for a minute. So David has done work, his firm has done work for us on other projects within the town. I think behind the Belmonte, he's done the Belmonte School and other projects that he's done for us as well.
Yeah, thank you for that recognition. We do a lot of work with architects on building projects. So when the Belmonte and the veteran schools were being renovated, we were the landscape architect who designed the campus around them. Okay, thank you. So the first thing to understand with this site plan layout that you see on the screen here is that it's just zoomed in around the existing courts that are there now. So I'm going to, just to orient you, this is the bike path off to the right up above the hill. This is the wooded hill right there. I'm sorry, this is the bike path right here. You see that? And this pathway coming down is existing. This is Essex Street out here. This is the fire station, the corner of the fire station, right? This is the existing parking lot. Baseball field is off over here, and the playground is up off the page. And the soccer fields are all off the bottom of the sheet here. So we've really zoomed in so you can see the detail of the improvements that are being proposed. So the existing fence does come across. These basically are being reconstructed on the exact same footprint of the courts that are out there. This fence, but everything is going to be new. This fence comes across right now, and there's a gate in the fence right here that gets into, and this area is currently being utilized by soccer. There's a storage container that sits over here. We're proposing to move that so that it's outside of this new public space. And so what we'll do is we're taking the existing fence and we're running a new fence down in line with the back of the existing fence and putting a gate there, so that all of this space down here would still be focused for the soccer use and fenced off like it is today, but the gate and the fence would be down in alignment with the back of the courts. As far as the hockey court is concerned, this is a little bit larger than the existing tennis courts that are out there. It's 120 feet long by 60 feet wide, and it's going to have an all-new, what they call a dasher board system, and that is an aluminum frame with a panelized construction on the inside that goes up 4 feet, and then it will have a 6-foot-high black vinyl coated chain link fence on top of that. And it has the curved corners. I mean, it's basically a standard product there's 2 or 3 different companies that make these, and this is one of the, well, I should tell you that we do have a contractor under agreement now, and they've already submitted the products for this, and they're agreeing to use the products that we specified, not an equal or not something they're trying to substitute, which is great news in public construction, because we have to allow for competition in the bid. We need to allow a contractor to submit something, we evaluate whether it's equal or not. They've agreed to use the products that we specified, so it's exactly what we've been talking about in terms of the fit and finish and everything. So that system goes all the way around. This portion from this team bench down to this player's bench is going to, that 4-foot system is going to have plexiglass, so it's going to be see-through. When you're sitting in the team area, or you're sitting, and I'll explain this in a little bit more, you'll see some pictures in the next slide. There's a bleacher here with a canopy over top, a shelter. Spectators and players will be able to see right down to the surface. And they won't have to stand up to look over the dasher board to see what's going down on the surface of the court. We have, and next I'll talk about pickleball. So the 6-court arrangement is actually a really good configuration as a community destination for pickleball. You know, oftentimes communities are retrofitting existing tennis courts, and we did look at that option. I have to say we explored all of the possible scenarios of a lower cost renovation, keeping some of the fence posts and retrofitting that. And ultimately, you know, Scott was basically saying we need to do this right. We need to make sure that we're replacing the equipment that's out there, so we're not going to have problems, you know, down the line. So we're going to be putting in all new fencing, and as he said, we do also have these separator fences in here. So it's really that ideal scenario versus when you retrofit an existing court and you put two pickleball courts side by side on an existing tennis court, you're going to have a lot more ball interference between the players. We also have this separator fence at the end zone here, but there are gaps here and here so people can walk back and forth. Not too big though, because in terms of ball retrieval, it'll be easy to get any balls that may go by there. We do have a couple of benches on this side, and those are dedicated to the pickleball court. So if somebody's waiting there for their turn to play, that's a good spot to wait. The dasher board system on this side of the hockey court is solid, so these are oriented towards the pickleball. We do also have another bench. It didn't show up in the rendering, but we have another bench out here along this accessible walkway. So the way people will get to these courts will be, there's an accessible parking space here that's integrated within all of the parking, and then we have a flush condition where people can, anybody with mobility impairments can get along and get to either this gate or come along over here to this gate over here. And so you can get to these last two courts without walking behind the other courts that are in use. We also have this accessible route, which is coming down through here into this picnic area. So there's a way you can get to these let me just explain. I guess there's a little sun on there right now, but this is an existing memorial tree with a plaque, and there is actually an existing tree in this location. They were all rendered the same, but it's a smaller tree. We're planting these 3 trees and 4 trees in this vicinity here for shade, so that we can have a place for picnicking. These picnic tables are on pavers, and we'll show you those images in one of the next slides. But this one is also accessible, so somebody in a wheelchair could also be sitting at that table while other people in their family are also at the same table. These picnic tables are in lawn over here. So anyway, the space along here there's plenty of room to walk back and forth and get to the bleachers. And there's also this paved route that gets you to 2 access points into the court for the 2 different teams. This is the color scheme that we've come up with. It's been reviewed by many different folks. But ultimately, with a hockey court, it kind of resembles ice, but it's actual asphalt paving with it's a sand grit type surface, similar to what's put on a tennis court, but a little bit more gritty than that. And the court system for the pickleball is also using the similar type of acrylic coating on asphalt. Let's see what else. Oh, the lighting. So these 6 yellow dots are actually the new Musco lighting system for sports. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but this is an LED system. It has very good light control where the visor type fixtures provide full cutoff. So it will be illuminating the court surfaces very evenly and out to just a little bit beyond the fence line, but then beyond that, it will go into almost total darkness. It's a really amazing system in terms of integrating sports lighting at the illumination level that you need for the sport within a neighborhood without affecting the community around the park. We do also have a small pedestrian light pole over here that is 16 feet tall and one over here. So when people are out here and in the evening and the courts are being used into the evening hours, and then they want to go home, they have an illuminated pathway to get back out to the parking lot. Okay, so I think the next thing I'll do is go to the material slides.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that with the lighting, I'm a firm believer as a former police officer that we want some sort of lighting at all the parks so that when the police drive by or they're parked in there, it prevents people from hanging around there. I know people sometimes say, well, if you have the lights, then it draws people there. If they're playing after a certain hour, then they're going to be, asked to leave, just like we do with the other parks. But we want to have some kind of illumination so that the police, when they drive by, can see, and you're not going to have people hiding out, just like we do down at the Evans playgrounds.
So I'll start with, there's a question in the back. Do you want to? Come up, please.
Sorry about that. Just question whether there's going to be a light, if you go back a page, facing into the parking lot, because come October 1st at 5 o'clock, you can't see in that parking lot.
Okay. So that's a different issue, but
Yeah, so I just didn't know if somebody's using any of that stuff that's lit up for them to play, once they go beyond that walkway, you can't see.
So we
There's
can
no
look
other
at,
lighting
we can
down
look
there.
at some of the existing pole that's there and the building, the fire station or
Yeah.
whatnot, and maybe look at putting some lighting or something within this design. We can definitely look at that.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a good suggestion. There's a pole that's just off the corner of behind the fire
Correct.
station over here, and there's a pole over here as well. And that's actually where the power for this lighting is going to be coming from, overhead.
And part of the project included, as necessity, was to upgrade the electrical service that's there, and that's through National Grid, which takes months and months to put an application in and get them to respond and go out. But I think they've been out there surveying it already and whatnot, so I think we're in good shape that way.
So we've got 6 different products on this page. I'm going to start in the bottom right because we're talking about lighting. This is a small detail view of what the light fixtures look like, these LED light fixtures. What's also this is the type of fixtures that go on top of the pole. And these have dimmability, which is really great. The old metal halide fixtures that you had in a lot of sports complexes just a few, maybe 5-10 years ago, they're not really selling those anymore, but they take a little while to warm up because they come on with a ballast, and then they are either full brightness or off. But with the dimmability, it's great because once the use of these courts, the programming for that particular evening is over, the controls, which are accessible on a smartphone, whoever has the authorization to use that can turn it, and then they go to dim before they go off. So people can exit the courts safely before it's total darkness. And it's also good in terms of your perception when it comes to light. When it's dimmer, you can actually, your eyes adjust better to the darkness around there. So when it's full brightness, going from full brightness to total darkness, it takes longer for your eyes to adjust. But if you go from a dimmed environment to a darker environment, it's easier for your eyes to adjust.
Just one other thing that triggered, Mark, when you bring it up, I've spoken with the company that does the sprinkler system and all that. I know that there was some concern because I think there was some work done, probably not permitted, and there's no designs or specs of where the wires and all that stuff is. So we're going to work with them and work with you guys as far as trying to figure that out to make sure that everything's straightened out.
The survey actually does show the irrigation control valves along this side, and we've made sure that we're staying completely away from those. And also the drainage system that we have surveyed out there, we're making sure that those light pole foundations and those fence foundations all avoid the drain lines that are out there as well. Okay, so these other materials here are the site furnishings for the picnic tables. So the ones that are in lawn are like this, kind of a traditional park bench where the bench is attached to the table with a leg. So those actually could be moved around, but they're heavy, so they can't really be moved very easily. They can also be, very likely what we'll be recommending is that there be like a ground anchor with a small cable loop on it, so that they wouldn't, just to deter vandalism. The picnic table in the plaza areas will be actually attached to the pavement surface. So those aren't something that we're concerned about from getting tipped over or damaged. These are all very robust commercial grade type furniture, but also some clean and contemporary look that we think will look good for many years from a design standpoint. And then the bench style that you could see here is similar to the picnic table. We do have a bicycle rack that is going to be right adjacent to that plaza space, and a trash and a recycling container that will also be directly adjacent to the picnic area.
And if we have to add more or make adjustments, we'll do that as far as the amount of use.
Okay, so as far as the sports are concerned, let's see, top left, this is the players bench that we have. And what's really nice about this is that it gives a place for either like underneath a cubby type space or on the back. If the kids aren't putting their feet on the bench and sitting on here, which oftentimes they will, it's kind of it's meant to allow for that. We have the top surface and the intermediate surface could both act like a bench, but you could also put your gear up on there as well. This is the bleacher system that we have. What's nice about this is that it's a low profile, so we don't need to have that big ugly guardrail around the back of it, which code requires if you're over 30 inches. And that's one of the main reasons why the panel for the dasher board system in front of there will be clear, so you'll be able to see through to the surface on the court. The picnic area has these type of pavers as a mixture of like 2 or 3 different colors, and it's really...
So I'm not sure they understood that, so explain that again. The dashers are see-through, in other words, so that you can see inside the court, so you're not blocked by the dasher on that side.
I'll skip to the hockey court boards, the dasher board system here. What you can see is the aluminum frame, this is the outside of it, and then the solid panels, and then the 6-foot-high black vinyl coated chain link fence on the top of it. And this is as it's starting to turn the corner. But in front of the seating, this white will be clear, so you'll be able to see through to the surface. And then at the, over top of the bleachers, we have this cantilevered shelter. What's nice about this is that it doesn't have the front posts that would obstruct line of sight from any of the spectators sitting on the benches. On the seats, you can see directly out to the court, pretty much get the full view. That's why we only have the posts on the back of it. And then as far as the hard court surface painting, we have the multicolors. That's what I showed you on the first slide. Those are the colors that were chosen. So I think that's all of the slides that we have. And I'll go back to the plan maybe to... Are there any questions associated with the plan that I could answer?
I do want to make one announcement before we get to the questions. I just got a text from DPW. So part of our paving program is spaced out over the summer, and I guess they're going to we're going to get a press release out tomorrow, but the second phase of our paving management program that's supposed to start may start as early as the end of this week. Just so I want to get that out to the public. We thought it was supposed to start next month, and we get something out, but they may be doing some more paving as part of our annual paving management program, just so that to get it out there as soon as we can. But they may be doing some paving starting as early as at the end of the week or beginning of next week, and we'll get a press release out once I put one together tomorrow. Go ahead, sorry.
So we're
so questions.
turning to questions.
Sure.
How much room is in the picnic area? So I'm thinking if, say you eventually have tournaments, you're gonna have teams, you're gonna need places to change, and, I mean, would there be plenty of room to like have that, or?
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, trying to be helpful. So there is no enclosed like building to go in and change. Okay, so the distance, just as a point of reference, from this is an asphalt paved access way, getting up to the gate here. From here over to the court is probably about 40 feet or so, by 15 feet wide or so.
Do you have a question, Peter?
They want you to come to the podium.
Sure. I think his question was the number of parking spaces. So it's what we have for existing parking now. And if we need to in the future to try to reline it or try to look at a more efficient thing, that's something we can also add to look at that. But obviously, the space, what we have for, you know, this is a similar and same use that we've already used it for, and the parking is limited. I think soccer, obviously, you know, runs into issues with the amount of people that are, you know, at the games and all that. So the parking is obviously an issue everywhere, but it would be the same amount of parking that's there existing now. If we need to look at relining it or looking to try to make it more efficient, we can do that as well. You here to talk about the rail trail?
Several years ago, we had a master plan for the playgrounds and parks that you presented to town meeting. We approved that. I'm looking at this, and what I see here is totally different than what we were looking at town meeting. I see a number of problems with this. And the first thing I'd like to find out is, what about the tot lot? What about the swings and the slides and stuff like that? We're not even including that in this. This is going to be $1.5 million to
Correct.
1.6, right? We're not even talking about that. We haven't even addressed that. The other, I'll give you all my questions here.
So
What
to answer your first question first, there's been no plan submitted to town meeting. So what we talked about at town meeting is that we were gonna allocate money and look at doing, and I think I mentioned, for the different playgrounds and parks that we're looking at doing improvements at, and that we would have an informational session like this to explain where we're headed. So there was no actual plan that was voted on. It was voted on trying to do improvements, and that's what was supported.
I think that I got some paperwork that shows
Sure.
what the perceived plan was for the park, for
Not from me,
Anna Parker,
yeah.
Anna Parker was one of several parks that we had
Sure.
talked about,
Yeah.
correct? I don't remember anything about pickleball courts or anything like that. I'm concerned about the tot lot. I'd like to know what time the park is going to close at night. The pickleball courts throughout the land have raised a number of problems with surrounding the neighbors, surrounding the courts, and the noise factor. And I can't imagine that, you know, with the lights on, I wouldn't want to see this, the lights go out at 11 o'clock and everybody have to listen to that all until 11 o'clock at night. I have no idea what time the lights would go out.
So it sounds like you have, like, you're talking about operational stuff. So we have town bylaws that in our bylaws, what time the parks and playgrounds, you know, have to be vacated. So, you know, whatever that is, we'll work that out, and what the times are that you're not allowed to play at any of these, whether it's basketball, tennis that's there now, street hockey that's there now, or I think there's a skateboard park and some equipment there. Whatever it is, it's the same. It would be the same rules that apply now that have been there for 100 years.
I realize it's been there that long, but we never had lighted parks prior to this. Putting lights in the parks are a relatively new thing, and
Yeah.
when we made up that bylaw, there was certainly no lighting in that bylaw.
So what I would tell you is we'll do whatever it takes to accommodate whatever the issues are that you're raising about the times, all that. We have bylaws that have to be followed, and obviously we're not going to allow things that disrupt neighborhoods. But it is a playground, it is a park. People purchased houses next to parks and playgrounds because they have more value to their home, because their kids can walk to the park and play at the park and do the same things that we're doing here. It's just, now we're upgrading them and modernizing them.
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
pickleball courts are causing problems with neighbors, and
Sure.
it's because of the noise is different, it's louder, and
Right.
I guess it's annoying.
Well, one of the requirements you can have is just so you, like, they have, what do you call it, low noise paddles and all that are certified USA pickleball. we can require those and all that to try to keep it down. But, you know, it is obviously, these are the purposes and the uses that have been at this playground for over 100 years. You know, they had tennis courts going bing, bing, back and forth, you know, way before my time, before I was born. You got fire engines that have, you know, noise that come out, they put the sirens on, all that. I mean, this is, you know, part of a thing, but we'll work with you, however, different issues, we'll work with the neighborhood. Operationally, we certainly don't look at having the things going till 11 o'clock at night. I don't think any park or playground's allowed to have people there playing after 11 o'clock.
Just so you know, the guys in the firehouse are really terrific. They don't, at a certain time at night, they really try to avoid putting a siren on and stuff.
Well, I'll have to speak to them about that then.
I appreciate that. My neighbors appreciate that. Looking at this, we're gonna need a number of receptacles, trash receptacles. How many have you got planned for there?
I think we have a few, but we like I said, that's like the bike racks and the receptacles, those are things that we can look at adding additional ones. And the other thing is we're gonna have some cameras with the same system that we have. They're gonna be installed to protect the investment for the taxpayers. That'll be linked to the police department as the others are now.
Is there some sort of a league that's going to be playing at this facility? There's 6 courts. It looks to me like they're planning some kind of a pickleball tournament. Is that something that could be a reality, or is it?
There's no plans of a league or anything like that, but I'm sure people want to play. I don't think 6 courts is a lot, to be honest with you. It's actually a good number for an area, but I don't know if it would be any different than like World Series Park has tournaments down there. You know, and probably the basketball, I think I drove by Evans, they had some kind of a tournament going on with tents up and everything else, I think, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. So I'm sure that there'll be activity there, because that's why we're building it, is to have quality of life things, to be able to have, you know, I think the idea for everybody that lives here, we want to have a place that we want to stay, our kids want to stay, and that our grandkids want to grow up and live. And part of that, I think, I don't want to go back in history, but we all grew up here, like my kids my age and some of the selectmen and Deborah and Mike. We didn't fix one playground for over 50 years here. And people moved out because we didn't improve things. Now we're doing things. And I know that there's obviously change, even if it's a positive thing at the end. There's bumps in the roads, there's different issues that come up. I'm committed to work with whatever your concerns are, and the town is, and I know the board is as well. We want this to be a positive thing to work with everybody. There's obviously, everybody puts on a different pair of glasses and looks at things differently, but overall, this is a really positive thing. Is it perfect? No. Is it, you know, thing, but what I can tell you, it's gonna be just like the amount of use that's being done at the Evans basketball courts. I sat here at town meeting, and people got up at town meeting and told me that we have too many basketball courts and that nobody's going to use them, we don't need them. Go take a ride down there. And so I think that this is just multi-generational, and maybe one of the ideas from the board, I've spoken to the board about this, is that maybe we can set up a thing where we give lessons. We bring people in to give pickleball lessons for the community, or street hockey, back at the police with the PAL League or Youth and Rec, to have some of these, you know, engaging the kids again and getting people so that we're a community and really enjoying some of the assets and the benefits of the quality of life issues in the town. And that's the idea. So whatever your concerns are, we're happy to work with anything. We're not looking to have anybody, and nobody would support, you know, where something's too late or disturbing things, and we'd modify anything we can to make that happen. You know, just like we did with the rail trail. I know you had concerns over that, and I committed to you, if you wanted me, I'd put another fence up if we needed to. And, you know, I know, you know, it's close to your property. I hope that things are going okay with that. It's not perfect, but you know, some people that, when you saw your house, might say, this is a great asset to have. I can step out my door and get on the rail trail, or go across the street and go to the park, and I have a fire station in case I have a medical issue. So there are benefits to all these things, pros and cons.
I agree with you. The other thing that has me concerned.
Is there anything that you're not concerned with? Just tell me one thing. You like the colors.
I don't know. I can see people going in and out of that park all hours, night, day. They go down there, they're down there for 5 or 10 minutes and they're out of there. I think we know what's going on down there. Is there any way to secure the park, to stop that? You're gonna need cameras. This whole, the picnic tables and the shelter and everything, this is inviting to the kids in this town to go in there and they'll tag it and all the other crap that they do.
What I can tell you is that I don't know, I can't guarantee that isn't gonna happen. What I can guarantee and tell you is that we are gonna have the same security and measures that protect the taxpayers' money and investment, and the town's investment, that we have at the vets and all these other parks and playgrounds that we've done, that we've had incidents that have happened, and the police have investigated and actually got the people and apprehended them and made them pay restitution for the things that go on, vandalism or whatnot. And what we can do, and what I can talk to the police chief about, is having a more police presence there. I think a lot of times, if you drive by, there's usually a cruiser in there sitting sometimes, which is not a bad thing. So we can obviously have more, and I think the more activity you have, the better I think it protects itself, because the people that you're talking about that are doing those type of things don't want to go where there's a lot of people. So if there's kids there playing and there's people playing pickleball, they're not going to go in there to do a drug deal. They're going to try to find another place that's more excluded.
This would happen after the lights go out and
Correct.
everything,
Yeah.
All right, I'm sure there's more questions.
Yep.
Right now, I don't have them, but I am concerned about the Todd Lot, because I'm gonna hear about that. The people, the neighborhood's starting to fill up with younger families with children, and
Yep.
they're not interested in pickleball. They wanna bring the kids down and put them on a swing or a slide or something, so we need to.
I'm going to offer you the first pickleball lesson when we bring somebody in. Come on.
I've already had too many knee surgeries. Thanks.
Thank you. And Bill, as you know, you can call me, you stop down anytime, whatever issues, and we'll deal with those issues.
Thank you. I think this is a great plan. Pickleball has exploded since 2021. 36 million Americans are playing pickleball. So perhaps when Mr. Brown's plan was written long before the explosion of this sport, and I've had constituents, one is here tonight, advocating for pickleball courts in Saugus. It is multi-generational, and recreation in Saugus should not just be, it should be for all ages, where people from all over town can come and use this facility, and I think they would. They certainly will. If the money is invested and it's done right, I think it will be taken care of. I haven't seen vandalism at the Evans basketball courts. I haven't seen vandalism at the tennis courts down the middle school. I haven't seen vandalism at the new high school. I think when they see that the town has got pride in investing in this, and by the way, town meeting voted unanimously to appropriate these funds, and they relied upon your judgment to come up with the best plan that'll serve the most amount of people. And this particular project does do that. Street hockey is very popular in Saugus with all ages, and I think it's a great plan. My only disappointment is it can't get done sooner than November.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. The other thing I would add to that is that and I think we'll have more, if they want to be, I would love to have the kids that have been involved and given the input in the design to come out. They have skills tonight, hockey skills for the summer, so they weren't able to make it here. But they really gave a lot of information and input to help design this, and I think they're the ones that are using it. They picked parks and said, go look at this one that has a street hockey. This is what we want. We want the corners. They were adamant about having the corners on the rink to make it like a real rink, and I think that there's a whole story behind that, to have kids like that are in the town vested into a project like this and being able to influence and be involved in that design of this. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. Ken DePato, Chairman of the Finance Committee. I'd like to go over a couple of things, Scott, with everybody that's present. About 4 or 5 years ago, the administration the Board of Selectmen made an issue of rehabbing all our playgrounds and recreational areas. They've been committed to it. You guys have been committed to it. The Finance Committee committed to it, along with town meeting. The first two projects that were done were playgrounds for toddlers. So we have two brand-new state-of-the-art playgrounds, one at the Veterans School and the other one's on Bristol Street. This one here addresses different age groups, which I think is terrific. It's more of a mini recreational area. Someday I'd like to see a recreational facility somewhere else in the town where it would address all ages and all members of the community. But this appears to be that we are taking steps to go by age groups and addressing things. I can say that looking at this set of plans here, it really addresses a whole lot of different age groups. You got the young kids that are playing street hockey. That'll get them off the tennis courts on Winter Street and give them a facility that they're actually playing under normal conditions. Maybe bring a league in for the kids, give them something to do. You have pickleball, as previous speaker just said, and I know you have, Mr. Manager, that everybody plays, and it is a very popular sport right now. For this small footprint, in my opinion, I think a great job has been done. So in the last 5 years, we've taken steps to address them one by one, and I'm happy to say that I'm seeing quality products being presented to the community rather than fixing previous facilities, which is never the right thing to do. It's always best to do it from scratch. And making everything handicap accessible. Because if it's not handicap accessible, then you create another problem. So I'd like to thank the administration. I'd like to thank the Board of Selectmen, Town Meeting, and the Finance Committee for supporting this for the taxpayers in the community. And I'm looking forward to this project's completion and then moving on to the next one, whether it's Stalker or the one off
Golden
of
Hills.
Street. I always
Golden
forget.
Hills, Stackpole.
Yep, Stackpole. You know, we have some land available that should be used for recreational and giving the kids something to do other than play with their computers and their phones. But I'd like to say this is a great presentation. Thank you very much. And it looks like the money that we've recommended and town meeting has appropriated is being spent in good, for good use. Thank you.
Thank you, and I agree that the selectmen prioritizing this and working together, the Finance Committee and Town Meeting supporting this is what makes this possible for the community and bettering it.
Good evening. I'm just going to speak
Good
briefly
evening.
because the last couple of speakers covered everything I could think of. You know, thinking about the area now, I don't think it's changed in the 25 years I've been walking around this town.
It's just gotten worse.
Right. You know, I remember going and actually watching your children, Mr. Crabtree, play baseball there years ago.
Yeah.
And I walk by that area now on the rail trail, and I think, looking at this plan, you go, look at what it could be. You know, you think of the people that could benefit of something like this, not just the students and the kids, in the summer, but think about a league we could put together with the Youth and Rec and the Cultural Council. You know, maybe bring the Policemen's Union in and say, let's have a little, pickup game, something like that. We could do it for charity or whatever. These are the kinds of things I want to see around this town. Now, not for nothing, I would pay money to watch you play pickleball, Mr. Manager, but that's a different question. I just, like I said, these are the things that bring people to this town. These are the things that bring people together. Extend this a little further, we could bring a couple of food trucks down there on a Saturday night, and suddenly you've got 20 people in a bracket and a bunch of people on the bleachers.
Guess what that's called? A community.
Right. Thank
Community event. Thank you.
you. Absolutely.
Sorry,
Whoa,
oops,
whoa.
sorry, I'm having a little trouble orientating this. Do you have one that's bigger than this that shows Essex Street and some of the other streets?
Yeah, just, you can point it.
Yeah,
It's pretty easy, just the white building at the top, you see the corner of it on the top of the screen to the right? See the
It
cutout?
says players' benches?
Correct.
Is
That's,
that-
that's the corner of the fire station.
That's the fire station.
Yep.
this is the bike path.
So this is the bike path. Take a look up here. And that's Essex Street.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
so that's Essex. Okay, and,
This is just the south end of the parking lot here.
okay, and the baseball field would be at the bottom? Oh. Yeah. You don't have something that shows the whole of Anna Parker?
We don't here, but I'll give it to you here so that you can, I just labeled it for you.
So, soccer field, is that? Yeah. Okay, uses would be like over here? Yeah, it'd just be, if we had a blow-up of Anna Park, the whole park, and this overlay where it would be on it would be helpful. Yeah. Just so you can see where it is.
It's exactly where it is now.
Okay.
Good evening. Great presentation. I can't tell you how many rumors I heard what was going to go in.
We're taking all the soccer fields. We're going down there with trucks tomorrow.
I manage the soccer fields, so I take care of the soccer fields. So I have two questions. The gate, is there going to be a gate there that leads into the soccer fields?
Yes, I'll point it
How
out to
wide
you.
will it be?
We're taking the gate that exists up here, that fence that goes across between the parking lot and the fields.
Yep.
Goes across here. We're taking that gate and we're putting it down here. So the new fence, this will be a continuous 10-foot high fence with a gate, double gate, turns the corner at this point, goes back and reattaches to the existing fence that continues on.
We can
So
make it as
wide enough
big
to
as
get
you
in?
want it to be.
Well, I want an ambulance to get in, that's the big thing.
The what?
Ambulance,
Yeah.
in case somebody's hurt on the field?
Oh, yeah, no, we'll have
That's
it,
all.
yep.
No problem.
Okay, one other question. I know you addressed the watering, but the clock for the watering is, do you know where it is?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
it's in the area there that,
Nope, it's over underneath that tree, I think.
It's right over in this vicinity over here, right? Or
That's-
you're saying over by this tree?
Yeah, it's,
The survey shows the water line coming in to this point. There's a gate valve.
no,
and a-
not the water line, I'm talking about the electrical.
Oh, electric.
There's an electrical box. And the pole that sits in front of the, that's what feeds our box.
Okay.
Okay, so there's an electrical line underground that goes to the time clock would be where that pine tree is.
Yep.
So that's probably gonna have to be moved, correct?
So you have power going to your storage container right now?
Yes,
Okay.
from that pole.
All right, we need to run power back to the storage.
yeah, we'll straighten it out, yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I don't care about September, but August is a,
Yep.
No worry. We'll make sure you get power
okay.
there and we'll get it
Thank you, it's a
straightened
great
out.
job. It looks awesome.
Thank you.
A couple of questions. First, I direct the Saugus Athletic League, where I run a street hockey clinic throughout the summer, and this is amazing. So thank you. One question I have, which seems to be a big issue regarding all the parents, they always ask me, is bathrooms down there? And I know they put porta potties into the field at Anna Parker, but it's locked when we are down there, and I mean, you know, porta potties get gross. So my only concern is obviously the water is great for the water bottle filler, but bathrooms is going to be a issue. I don't know if you have any plans on putting bathrooms somewhere down there?
No, it'd be probably porta potties or whatnot. I think they have them down there now. I'm not sure. You're saying they're locked?
Well, the one that's like across the park, there's one, but I mean,
Okay. Yeah, we could figure that out.
okay.
Yeah, especially the more activity, then we would want to figure something out to accommodate that.
And then one other question is, where the court is now, that's not going to cut into the parking at all, right? It's
No.
in the same vicinity of the area, and nothing won't involve the baseball field at all. That'll just stay the same. Okay.
All the same.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for doing this. We're very excited about the pickleball courts.
You're welcome.
And I did have a question about the restrooms, but that was answered. So for the pickleball courts, will there be a reservation system? And will Saugus residents get preference over out-of-town people?
So we can try to figure that out. I'm not a expert, but I actually have spoken to other communities and people that actually design, that doing indoor ones. I've actually made friends with somebody that my daughter plays hockey with, but they have different apps and different things that they can do
there's a
reservations, and then they
scheduler.
put the paddles in the line of like who's next and all that. So we can work if you want to. You're obviously I've heard play pickleball. So you can talk to me when we get to that point, and we can figure out a system that works so that we can have preferential for, obviously, Saugus residents would be the main thing. Somebody that's a Saugus resident being able to reserve and have some kind of a system or a kiosk or something that people pull up on an app to say, okay, it's your turn on the courts.
Will the nets be permanent so that we don't have to bring our own nets?
Correct.
Yes, they're permanent nets.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you take them down in the winter probably, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
most towns will take them down after like it starts to snow or something, but.
Yep, perfect. So whatever, when we get closer, just reach out to, reach out to me, and we'll try to get more information on how to put an operational system in place that benefits the residents, obviously.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you remembered before you left.
I'm a little confused. There's a red line going around this whole project. Is that a fence?
No, it's a limit of work line. So that actually was carried over from the construction documents that were put out to bid. It tells the contractor they have to work within that line while they're doing the project. It's really just, it's an invisible line that doesn't exist in the ground. Is simply on paper to tell the contractor that's your contract limit line.
Okay. When do you plan on starting this?
So we're hoping that we were hoping it started earlier this year, but it should be hopefully mobilizing within the next couple of weeks.
In the next couple of weeks?
Yes, sir. You asked for it, it's coming.
I don't know that I asked for it.
Get her done. Do we have any other questions or comments? Sure.
You said couple of weeks?
Yes.
Do you know, because like I said, I have my stuff going on down there.
Yeah, so I'll reach out to you, talk to you, but we're trying to, we just had a pre-construction meeting, and we're trying to finalize a schedule. I'm trying to push as soon as possible, because we don't want to, the sooner we can get it going, the better, then it gets finished sooner. So why don't you reach out to me tomorrow, we can touch base.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions or comments? Okay. So I just want to thank everybody for coming. Again, for supporting this, the Board of Selectmen and myself, this is a priority. The Finance Committee and Town Meeting, obviously, none of this could happen without everybody working together as a community, focusing on getting something done. So I appreciate, and we'll take everything, all the concerns and issues, we'll look at those and try to make adjustments. And please feel free to reach out with any ongoing issues during the project, or if you have any questions in the meantime. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, David Warner. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, I appreciate it.